All right, welcome in. Horses and Talking on BloodHorse Monday. His name's Sean Collins. I'm Louie Rabaut. So glad you decided to start your August with us and certainly your horse racing week there as well. Boy, a busy weekend. It seems like this never slows down, Sean. One of the best things I love about what we get to do, right? Because if you want to cover a horse race, I got good news for you, except for like 2 days a year. We got a horse race in the country. It's just always busy. People always ask me when my non-busy time is, and I tell them, I'm busy all the time. It's just Derby's extra busy, essentially.
Yes.
That ends up feeling. But yeah, good morning, Sean. How are you, buddy? You doing all right?
I'm doing great. And this week was extra busy for me out here at Saratoga. All those grade ones that we had on Saturday, I think we had 4 grade ones plus a number of other graded stakes throughout the weekend. So it was nonstop for me. I was running around like a crazy person the entire week, which for me is fun. But
yeah, for sure. Bunch of great content from Sean. We'll talk with Barry Irwin in a minute here from from the Swift Delivery team. Just one up there at Woodbine as well. And of course, from Team Valor, we'll get into your visit to meet Smarty Jones with Pat Chapman, one of the owners of Smarty Jones in Pennsylvania as well. A cool set of videos. Really appreciate you sharing that with everybody, Sean, on the interwebs, if you will. But that weekend at Saratoga, and you know what's funny? I thought I would get pushback on this. Every person I told that I enjoy Whitney Day more than Traverse Day, I expected to get this big pushback. Nothing. I love the 4-star, Dave. I think it gives us a star every year. I think deterministic is exactly that. I love when the Whitney is going, when that division is going. We've talked about it a lot on this show. But when that handicap division, whatever you want to call it, the older dirt mail division is really rolling, this sport's better. It's just more fun. It's more interesting. It gives us something to talk about after the Triple Crown. And so it's been nice to see these kinds of races. It's also fun. And I'm not mad at anyone that's doing this. Oh, he had a rabbit. Oh, they did that. Good. We're entering horses. Yes, it's making for great races. So yes, this is all spectacular stuff. You were there. What's your takeaway from Whitney?
Oh, it was a fantastic weekend. Like you said, deterministic's really kind of turning into one of these top turf horses. Yep, so it's exciting to kind of see his growth here. Seeing Miguel Clement have the success at this time too, I think is a phenomenal thing. Kilwin really impressed me in the test this week.
He's different, man.
The fact that she went down pretty much to her nose at the break and she still came back and won that race. She's going on to Kentucky Downs, and it's going to be dirt and turf for her. She can win on anything, so she's really exciting moving forward. But the Whitney definitely took the spotlight of the weekend. Such a great run from Sierra Leone. Fierceness is going to once again have us questioning exactly what he is. What's your takeaway on his performance?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, Rapoli goes on right before the race and says, it's just not, there's so few places for us to run older horses. And all I could think was, this is a problem for like 4 horses. There are like 4 horses for whom this is an issue, and 3 of them were in New York this weekend. And so yes.
And the other one was in New York, just in the barn.
Right, just in the barn. That's exactly right. The interesting thing about Fierceness here is, did that not remind you of Cogburn in the turf sprint in the Breeders' Cup a couple years ago, where he just stopped? Like he was rolling, he's out in the lead, he just stops. And once in a while, it's usually on the filly and mare side, Sean. The one I remember over and over, Breeders' Cup Distaff at Churchill, Abel Tasman just stopped running, and her career was done. And after the race, we all talked about Baffert. He's like, yeah, she might not want to run anymore. She never did again. And I'm not suggesting Fierceness is doing anything like that. But once in a while, horses just tell you, I didn't want to keep going. And so I don't know if it was a competition thing or he got tired or whatever. But I didn't love the look of how that race ended for Fierceness. I'll be very honest. I didn't like it.
I don't know if I'm ready to be at that point yet with him. I mean, we've seen in the past, I think we've seen enough consecutive solid performances from him, sure. But we know he throws in a clunker every once in a while. And I think maybe, yes, he got the perfect trip, but, the pace set up the way it was where he kind of had to make that judgment call of whether or not to move. And then when Skippy Longstocking kind of made that early move, it kind of forced him. He's shown before he's a horse that just likes to do it his own way. And sometimes when you take him out of his game, he just doesn't run as well. So I'm thinking maybe that's what happened here. And we'll see what happens when he bounces back. But I don't know what you would do with him next. He's obviously not going to be in the Jockey Club Gold Cup with Mindframe. So I don't know if you train him up to the Breeders' Cup Classic. You wait for that. If you end up in the Woodward, if you go looking elsewhere for him. But, I give him a pass on the Met Mile because I don't think a mile was his distance. I've mentioned that on here before. And I'm not ready to give up on him after this race. I could see reasons as to why he lost based off of what he's done in the past. And I think with the right setup, I think he's going to be good to go once again.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the talent's obvious. You saw him run well for most of that race. It just in the stretch, it just didn't work out. But I do wonder with him, Sean, long term, there's no step back race for him to get his confidence back. Right. No. So he can't step into a high level allowance or a listed stakes or something like this at this point.
End up at the Lucas Classic at Churchill, maybe. Who knows? But that might be the best step back you have.
It might be the best thing he can do. We know he loves Churchill Downs, all the things, right? I mean, so it may be that that's where he ends up. But at this point, I start to wonder about the mental state of the horse as far as does he want to be in these races now? I think he showed early on that he does. I think he did. I think he showed early on that he does. But if you're in the Sierra Leone camp, I think you are extremely, extremely positive moving forward about what you have in comparison to the other people in this group. Oh, I'm sure that's true.
I talked to our good friend Brooke Smith.
Was he shirtless in the canoe by chance? Was he?
He was not shirtless in the canoe, believe it or not.
Shame on you, Brooke. Get it done. Yeah, get it done.
That's when he wins the Whitney and the Jockey Club Gold Cup at the same meet. He'll do that at the end of the meet. But I saw him the next morning. He was very excited. I actually happened to be in front of him right when he won the race too. So there was a very happy box that Brooke Smith was in when Sierra Leone got the job done.
Well, good. Yeah, no, he's an interesting one. I know he's trip dependent, Sean. I don't care. What is he, one of 7 horses to win the Whitney and the Breeders' Cup Classic? I mean, get out of here. Who cares? It's great.
Trip dependent to win sometimes, but he's not trip dependent to run. He's the one deep closer that you can, no matter what the race scenario.
You're right about it. He's going to hit the top 3. You're right.
It's just a matter of whether or not he wins, but he's never been off the board before. And we saw him in the Stephen Foster kind of show something new of making multiple moves, and he was sitting closer, and he still came with his kick at the end. Maybe it was just a race too short at that point to beat Mindframe. But he's the one horse that you can always count on. And I saw somebody on Twitter the other day mention, just imagine the Breeders' Cup, Sovereignty and Sierra Leone are both making their run at the end of the race, and they're both firing. Who do you have winning that matchup? Who do you say, Louie?
I was just going to ask you who your top 3 is for the Breeders' Cup Classic right now, and you could throw the 3-year-olds in. I know who your number 1 is, and it's Sovereignty. I understand that.
And you know who my number 2 is.
Your number 2 is journalism. That is what we're doing with Sean Collins this year. I'm still leaning much, much more in the Mindframe camp at this point. And that is right. At this point, that's a trend-setting Churchill Downs in the spring that he wins the grade 1. Then he gets back to Churchill Downs itself, wins the Stephen Foster against Sierra Leone, who goes ahead and beats everybody up at Saratoga. So I'm not moving Mindframe out of that spot just yet. I do think I would go Mindframe, Sierra Leone, and then I would go Sovereignty third. That's who I would have top 3 Breeders' Cup Classic right now. And by the way, if any of them won, would not surprise me for a second.
Yeah, at all. We're so blessed to have a great classic group this year, both on the 3-year-old and the older horse side for sure.
Yep. Out west, we saw an interesting new addition to the distaff field in Seismic Beauty, winning the Clement L. Hirsch at Del Mar. Breaking from the inside, they just went with this one, Sean. I saw a lot of comments about how they were holding Rishi back. And I love this sort of stuff where people just think that Bob Baffert's going to ask one of their owners to run a horse for the first time in 3 months. And by the way, we're going to make it run third. Like that's the plan. Like that he can go to an owner and look them in the face and say, we're going to run third today. Okay. Just so you understand, because Seismic Beauty needs a grade 1 and you don't. Get out of here. This kind of stuff drives me crazy. I got to say this though, Sean. I'm a little tired of they make their own trip, in the same way that I'm a little tired of it about Sierra Leone. If she can get the lead and be faster than the rest of the horses, that's what Torpedo Hannah did last year. It's a really good tactic. You can do it.
It is. Yes, if you have a horse.
Ask Authentic how that works out. It's fantastic. I don't know why people are so against this, why they think it's such a bad tactic, when this is how Baffert trains. And when he's got a horse this fast, who's already won at Del Mar, why can she not be included in that distaff? I think she's top 3 right now, no question.
Yeah. And the distaff's going to be at Del Mar.
Correct.
So, that's going to be a huge thing in her benefit as well. She's a major player in this division.
Yeah, I think those stay-at-home dirt horses especially, right? They seem to be ones that really do thrive. Obviously, last year, top 3 in the Breeders' Cup Classic were 3-year-olds, potentially the top 2 returning to that kind of mantle as well. But let's get Barry Irwin in here. He is from the Swift Delivery team, and of course, from Team Valor as well. Barry, happy Monday to you. Welcome to BloodHorse Monday. How are you?
Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem at all. See, that is facial hair, Sean. Do you understand me? You will never have a mustache that fine. How about that? But yes, we're here, of course. Hey, over the weekend, nice little win for Swift Delivery. Of course, this is a horse that, back-to-back really nice performances, both of them at Woodbine. I'm sure you weren't totally shocked by the performance, but you had to be happy.
Yeah, we thought this was going to be his day, no doubt about it. He's a talented horse. He's got a great stride, but he's quirky, and it's taken about a year to get him to this spot, but finally he arrived.
And it was a monumental win for you guys at Team Valor as well, your 200th graded stakes victory. Just what does that mean to your organization?
I think it makes people proud to be part of the organization. We have a small company, really. It's me, my wife, my assistant, Emily, and basically 2 accountants. So we work hard. I get up every morning at 5:30. I'm on the phone to Europe, and I don't put the phone down till about 5:30 at night. So we work hard, and when you win a race like this and it beefs up the stats, it makes us all feel pretty good, and I think it makes the partners feel good as well.
Gets the win up at Woodbine. Obviously, Mark Cassie, a big name up there. Patrick Husbands in the irons as well. But 200, like Sean mentioned, gets you over those. It's a number that is a little difficult to even wrap our heads around as far as graded wins. But that team up at Woodbine, what is it that goes into your selection process? 200's no accident. What goes into the process of selecting, say, a trainer or a jock, those sorts of things?
I've used Mark for, I can't remember how many years, probably 30 years. His dad was a friend of mine. His dad was a real character, one of the last of the truly great racetrack characters. And I've known Mark since he was a kid. I think Mark was the youngest guy to ever buy a mare at Keeneland. He was just a kid, and he's as sharp a guy as there is. And this particular horse was owned 100% by Gary Barber. Yep. We own a lot of horses with Gary, and Gary and I have won a lot of those 200 graded races. And one of my clients and his son, a guy named Bruce Zolden, and his son Alex, they own a thing called Phantom Fireworks. They're the largest retailers of fireworks in America. And Alex is very close with Travis. And we kept trying to find a Derby horse last year. We couldn't find one. And then when this horse popped up and I saw that name, Swift Delivery, it was like a no-brainer. So I called Alex. We worked a deal out. We got Travis in, and that's how it happened. And I haven't been able to speak with him or his manager since the race, but I know Travis watched it, was very excited, and this is his first stakes win and graded stakes win. So we're all happy for him.
What is it like having a big name like Travis Kelce on your team? How much does that? How much do the other partners really kind of revolve around that and celebrate that?
I don't know the answer to that. I know for us, it hasn't been any sort of financial windfall. We don't have people calling up saying, "Hey, I want to buy a horse. Can I buy one with Travis?" And it's most of the interaction we've had has been from the international media. Because anything with Taylor Swift is like off the charts. That's a name that you can't really get your head around in terms of her popularity. It's worldwide. She's magic. And Travis is part of that. Probably going to be a bigger part as the years go on. And as far as our partners, I think they kind of get a kick out of it, but I think we get a bigger charge out of it than they do.
Barry Irwin's with us, part owner of Swift Delivery, and of course from the team at Team Valor, 200 graded stakes win over the weekend up there at Woodbine. You guys were in on the ownership of Animal Kingdom, and I think one of the great stories in Kentucky Derby history. When you say you're looking for a Derby horse, man, you've been there before.
Yeah, We've been in the Derby a few times. We got beat ahead with Captain Bodgett, 1997. Animal Kingdom was big because we bred him. So that was cool. You know, we knew him from day one. And I'm from California. I lived there the first 60 years of my life, and I moved to Kentucky because I wanted to win the Derby. And I thought if I was there and had a larger presence and focused more on it, it would help. And as luck would have it, we wound up breeding a horse that, you know, stuff like that's just not supposed to happen. And it did.
What's your favorite memory when you think back on Animal Kingdom? What's his Derby? Also, he won the Dubai World Cup. What's your favorite memory kind of thinking back on that time?
The Derby will always trump any race we will ever be in. I was standing right next to my wife, and I'm looking at him, and I see him making this move, and I'm going, is that really him? Is this move for real? You know, and she starts screaming. So I knew it was him, and we were live. It's just, you know, when you're in this sport and you're following, I've been following the Derby since I've been 5 years old. You know, used to enter all the tobacco naming contests, all that kind of stuff. So it overwhelms you, and the emotion takes over, and it's like you're on autopilot. You're not thinking, you're just moving. You know, and it was just surreal. Everybody that wins it says the same thing. It's surreal, and I get it.
You also were part of the ownership on Alexandra, who was in foal and goes ahead and beats the boys in a little turf sprint. What goes into that process of deciding someone to? I mean, what a mare she was, huh?
Yeah. We actually have a flight line weanling filly out of her that's going to be offered in November at Keeneland. But we ran a filly once called Santa Catalina and the Humanidist staff, and we got nailed on the wire by a Will Farish horse. And after the race, he announced that she was in foal. And I said to myself then, I says, I've got to do this in the future. You know, I talked to him, and he says that if you have a high-strung mare, it will settle them down, you know. And so we've tried it probably, I don't know, 10 times. She's the only one that ever worked on it, you know. She was a phenomenal mare. She beat Raging Bull going a mile and 132 flat. She beat boys in the Jaipur 106 and 4. I mean, she was something. We still own her, by the way.
Awesome. Yeah, she was incredible.
Yeah. Well, speaking of incredible fillies or mares, you're bringing over a filly to the United States here to run against some of the top three-year-old fillies of the country in the Alabama Stakes in Queen Azteca. Coming over from running in the Swedish Derby, she won the UAE Oaks a couple months ago. Just tell us about her and bringing her on over for this challenge.
Yeah, I've often used the Swedish Derby as a prep for the Alabama. I find out it works.
Well, if we go 1 for 1, that's going to be a pretty good success rate for that round.
Yeah. So over the winter, a guy offered me her, and I checked into her. I looked at her. I liked the way she looked. I liked the fact that she was bred by Three Chimneys, so she was a Kentucky bred. And I thought that she looked good when she won the Cocoa Beach by 8, and then she got up on the wire and won the Grade 3 UAE Oaks. So I thought that would be a cool filly to bring over and run the Kentucky Oaks. You know, mile and a, she's already gone 9.5 furlongs. You know, she can get the trip. But they were too high on the price, so I just forgot it. She then ran in the UAE Derby and basically got her doors blown off. She finished 5th, got beat 8. So she went home. I never heard another word until a few weeks ago, and I got a call from the agent, sent me a video showing her winning a prep for the Swedish Derby. He says that my owner's feet are back on the planet Earth, and we can talk to him. So I made an offer, and I offered him a price that I thought she was worth. And I said, let's both run her in the Swedish Derby. You keep the purse. The winner she didn't win. She ran second. But he did okay. He got 54,000. So it was pretty good. The trainer, I didn't know him, but I know of him. Niels Peterson, very good trainer. goes to Dubai every year, does well, wins a few races. So he is training the filly to run the Alabama. She arrives Friday, a little early for the race, but you like him to get there like 5 days, not 8 if you can help it. So she will arrive on Friday, and we're going to take a shot and run her in the Alabama. The trip, if anything, 1.25 miles will be short for her. She breaks okay. She lays back. It's like riding a bicycle. Eventually, if the race is long enough, she'll get up there. We're hoping to hit the board. We're not going into the race with any fantasies like we're going to win it, but 1.25 miles for her will help. That's a tough 1.25 miles. That's a deep track at Saratoga. It's more like 11.5 furlongs in terms of energy. And we're going into it hoping to hit the board.
Barry Irwin with us from Team Valor. So did you want to announce on this show? I know you made the move from California to Kentucky. Are you moving to Sweden to concentrate on the Swedish Derby?
I'll tell you what, when people see her, she is a knockout. Might encourage people to look that way. She's a beautiful animal.
Love it. All right. Well, Barry, thanks so much for joining us here. I'm sure Sean's got one more. We'll get you out of here.
Well, I just wanted, celebrating 200 graded stakes wins. I just wanted you to take us back to the beginning. How did this all come together, and what has the journey for Team Valor been like over the years?
Well, I actually started out as Clover Racing Stables, and then we morphed into Team Valor. My best friend, Jeff Siegel, and I, we used to hang out in the press box together. He was a handicapper. I worked for the Racing Forum and the Thoroughbred California magazine. And Jeff preceded me into horse ownership, and then I got in. Eventually, we bought a few together. And I got approached by some guys that worked for a different company selling interest in fractional interest in horses. We formed a partnership with them. We realized after a few weeks that we didn't want to be partners with them, so we bought them out. They continued to work for us for a while. The very first horse we bought won the Hollywood Derby Grade 1. We bought him for $60,000.
An easy game. It's an easy game. Yeah, there you go, Barry.
Bought him for $60,000 off of Brereton Jones.
Yeah, okay.
When he was running for governor, the horse was called Political Ambition, which was pretty cool. And it's just been a dream ride for 38 years, and it never gets boring. Every year you're going to come up with new horses. It's not like owning a sports team. You want to get rid of something, you get rid of it. You want to buy something, you buy it. That's it. And the horses don't talk back. They don't ask for raises. They don't want to be traded. So it's pretty cool. And I've never lost my enthusiasm for winning a race. So it's been cool.
I'm very jealous, Barry. It sounds awesome. He's Barry Irwin, Team Valor. Appreciate you jumping on the podcast today, Barry. Congratulations on 200. It is a remarkable.
Thank you very much.
And good luck with your Swedish import and your eventual move. They have IKEA there too, I've been told. So.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. There you go. Barry Irwin, Team Valor. Join us here on BloodHorse Monday. Import horses from Sweden, winning 200 graded stakes. No big deal, Sean. No big deal. Yeah, that's just what people do. First horse we bought, won a grade 1, easy game. Just move on. It's an easy game here, Sean. Good stuff, man. Woodbine's one of those places where I've really got to lock in if I'm going to hit a bet up there. I have to change how I'm thinking and recalibrate the names and the Patrick Husbands of the world and that sort of stuff. I just got to recalibrate.
Is that because of the track, or is that because there's so many different connections up there?
It's both, actually. Yeah, just the layouts, like that outer turf course, that one-turn mile, that kind of stuff. You just have to kind of recalibrate for what you're looking at, and that sort of. I always think about the Woodbine Mile when I'm handicapping the Breeders' Cup Turf or the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile, that kind of stuff, right? Because the layout is so different than the tracks we get once we get settled into the Breeders' Cup, that sort of thing. But yeah, appreciate Barry jumping on the show with us. Should we talk to Frank? Should we talk to Frank Angst today? I think we should talk to Frank Angst today. How are you, Frank? Doing all right? A little summer dew on Frank Angst. I like that.
Doing well, guys. Yeah, it's just sort of the calm before the storm here up in Saratoga. It's the rare evening sale, which Saratoga Sale, of course, is what we're talking about. One of the biggest sales in the industry. Just a lot of success. The leading by Grade 1 winners, they kind of do some of the work as it's a select sale and bring up the consigners and breeders, bring up some top horses. But it's a little bit, it's kind of like a athlete with a night game. What do you do all day before the night game? But, once Sean and I get over there, it is a lot of energy at that sale. And Fasig-Tipton has had success with that, and it's really a unique atmosphere.
Frank Angst with us. He's presented this week by FanDuel, and it's BloodHorse Monday. Here we are presented during this segment by FanDuel Racing. Download that app right now and bet with our friends at FanDuel Racing. So, Frank, you're up there for the sale. Is there a buzz about a first-time sire? I know the Flightline's in the mix this year. Is there a buzz about any of the, or maybe one that's moving along, that's moving up in the ranks?
I mean, there's most assuredly buzz about Flightline, that's for sure. I mean, that this horse is every milestone that he's reached, there's been buzz, from his racing to his first foal to his first weanlings and now first yearling. So it'll be exciting to see how those horses do. One of the very cool things that they have going on in this sale that I wrote about at bloodhorse.com is they have full sibling or half siblings to the past 3 Preakness winners. Wow. And all 3 of those Preakness winners also were sold at the sale. And it's the same breeders, same consigners. So everybody's sort of just running back, why mess with success? They're running it right back. So, that'll be exciting for sure.
I think this weekend being out on the track, it's funny kind of paying attention to the backside. And as the days have gotten closer to the sale, you're starting to see more owners, more breeders showing up. All of a sudden, it's a lot busier on the backside. Frank, have you had a chance to get in to the sales area yet and feel any of that excitement?
Yeah, I walked around on 2 different days. It's really cool. All the people that you would expect to be here are here. That's for sure. You see kind of cool things that happen. We mentioned the close relatives of the 3 Preakness winners, and was over at the barn where the half sister to journalism is at, and Michael McCarthy came over and he kind of acknowledged that he doesn't always do a lot of sales stuff, but he just wanted to kind of pay a visit to the filly and hung out with her and looked her over. So you see cool things like that. There's so many connections in this industry, and that's always fun to see in the mornings. And you couldn't ask for better weather to look at horses. I mean, quite a few of the consigners have shade areas set up, and most years that's very much needed. But this year, boy, it's like spring day after spring day. Just if you imagine perfect weather, that's what it's been like every day. So that doesn't hurt, that's for sure.
Frank, the other thing going on up there at Saratoga is the Jockey Club Roundtables, including an introduction of a new head at the Jockey Club. Anything stand out the last couple of days during those meetings?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big kind of a coming out party for Everett Dobson. He is a Oklahoma guy, made his money on the phone industry, communications, and he's also a part owner of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And so we have that owner, and we have Vinny Viola owning the Stanley Cup winner. So it's a nice year for racing ownership. But yeah, Stuart Janney is stepping down after a successful 10-year run in that role. And Everett kind of just went over some things where he sees the industry. He really noted that the industry is in a good place on safety, not that anything's going to change there. He expects that to continue to do well. And with that in mind, he really outlined kind of focusing on the business side of the industry, trying to get the numbers of horses that are being bred each year up, trying to get the handle up, trying to move the business aspects of the industry forward. He seems really focused on that.
And I know another one of the panels that took a lot of great interest, a friend of the show here, Steve Kornacki, was with Griffin Johnson. What did you take away from their conversation? Yeah,
they both presented at the show. One thing that it was kind of interesting that the way people come to this industry, and I think sometimes there's a tendency to, that guy's a handicapper or that person is just a horse lover. But it's funny, however you come to the industry, develop an appreciation for all aspects of it. There's so many different corners of horse racing and breeding. And so obviously Steve's a numbers guy and kind of outlined how he's been that since a child and now makes his living doing that, analyzing polls and doing election night coverage where he's trying to see what the outcome might be. And in recent years, he's helped out NBC Sports and very much gladly has helped out the horse racing coverage. And he's been a terrific addition. So he came from it from a numbers perspective, a handicapping perspective. But, he also told a story of now he's just so enamored with top horses and trainers. And, he really had an affection for Whitmore, a champion sprinter. And he mentioned Wayne Lucas and, just how he didn't have a dime on Seize the Gray in last year's Preakness. Preakness keeps coming up today, but didn't have a dime on the horse. And as the horse was turning for home, just all the rooting interest went for Steve went on that horse. He was really pulling for him to see Wayne get that win. And then on Griffin Johnson, he grew up around horses, but not thoroughbreds, not horse racing. And he's gotten into it, got in on the small ownership side, and that was such a success for horse racing, his promotion of the sport with Sandman, and won the Arkansas Derby and then ran in the Kentucky Derby. And he made a good point of saying, you don't necessarily have to market the betting on the sport for new people. He's like, let's bring in new people and make them love the sport, make them understand the sport, make them enjoy the behind the scenes, stuff that you don't always get to see. And that social media is really good at that. And he says, once people become fans, they'll bet, and I think that makes a lot of sense. He's like, hey, these people start betting Sandman because they had a rooting interest. And I do, obviously there's some high level handicappers that, do amazing things, but I do think the majority of the people that bet on the majority, not the majority of dollars, but the majority of people that bet on racing, I think they kind of approach it as a fantasy league sport. You have your favorite horses, you bet on them,
or trainers or jockeys, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And if it's, the people in the game and maybe even if it's that day, you at least have your program and you pick out your favorites for whatever reason. And you're tied to that horse for the 2 minutes that the race takes or what have you. So I think both of them provided some terrific insight for sure.
I can't remember a person coming to a sport like Johnson has and just so naturally sliding into it. He fits in so naturally. He seems around the barn, he's a natural. And I know he grew up around horses a bit, but he's such a natural back there. And I remember some of the early criticism that people had online, like he wasn't talking betting enough. And I just remember thinking, shut up, like let the kid do anything. And we're already here. The Derby was only 3 months ago. He's already given talks, Frank, at the Jockey Club Roundtable. I mean, this guy he's way ahead of whatever expectations.
He acknowledged that he's made mistakes in language or the way he phrases things. And, as a sport, let's be forgiving of that. It takes a while for new people to learn. You can tell them a different way of saying it, but let's not turn off people of the sport by just trying to be. We don't want to be a niche sport. I mean, we want to grow the sport on whatever level that means. And I think Griffin made a point of saying I've said some things the wrong way, and people say, "Oh, it's actually this," and then he's interested in learning more about that and just keep the momentum going rather than try to be this exclusive club. The more people we can bring in, the better.
It was fun seeing him with the Ewing connections as well. It's obvious he's going to keep going after this, which I think for what we do, I mean, if he's in on a horse every year, it reminds me, Sean, we were interviewing Brooke Smith before the Derby and all. He's like, yeah, I just want to be here every year. Seems like Griffin Johnson's got a little bit of that to him too.
Yeah, and just he's always, I've been able to see him a lot at Pimlico, at Saratoga now, and it always just amazes me how much time he puts in at the barn. Yesterday morning, I was at Mark Cassie's barn, and he stood there for probably 30, 40 minutes having a conversation with one of the exercise riders there, Reynaldo Dumont, and then when they finished the conversation, he went with Reynaldo to go learn how to clean the equipment. So Ronaldo was showing him everything. There were no cameras. He wasn't filming anything for his social media online. He just genuinely wanted to know how to do this. And he told me that the reason why he was doing that is because he wants to be able to help out when he's around the barn. He doesn't want to just stand there and watch the whole time. So he's taking it upon himself to really put an emphasis on learning the sport and trying to he's got the bug now. We've all gotten the bug before, and he's got the bug now. So we're going to see what getting the bug and having the following that he has, what that can do as we go forward.
Frank, what should we be watching for in the upcoming magazine, or what are you working on at BloodHorse.com?
I mean, I just really, the next couple days, the focus will continue on the sale. So we have a really good team of really 5 people, wow. 4 in Saratoga, and editing help back in Kentucky. There's another person or 2, really. So just look for that coverage in both the daily newsletter and online at bloodhorse.com.
Yeah, make sure you get signed up right now. Bloodhorse.com. Go ahead, click on daily at the top there. Get signed up. Comes to your email inbox every day. No cost to you. Nice way to keep up on all things happening.
You know what else I did this week, Louie? As long as I've been covering the sport, I had never been to the Racing Hall of Fame induction.
Oh,
so I see our next guest is Pat Chapman. It was really cool. This was the first year I went, and
yeah.
I'm a big Smarty Jones fan, and so that was really cool to see.
Love it. Oh, there you go. That's great. Well, I'm glad you got to go to that finally. It's surprising that you've never been, but so glad.
I would recommend, any fan that has interest, especially if you're really tied to a horse, to get up there and enjoy that morning. Awesome. It's well done.
All right. Well, great. Thanks, Frank. We appreciate you, buddy. We'll get you out of here. Move on to our third guest of the program here. Her name is Pat Chapman, part of the she owns Smarty Jones. I mean, what a world. I mean, what an absolute world. She's waving. She's covering her face. She's doing all the good things that everyone does on a podcast. I'm just kidding. Pat, how are you? You doing all right?
Oh, my gosh. This ride has been incredible. And this past weekend was just the icing on the cake, the cherry on the top. Just unbelievable experience. And my adrenaline is still pumping, I'm telling you.
Oh, good. No more cliches, no more cherries on top. What else can we do here? A little whipped cream.
If I could think of a few more, I would be tossing them at you.
I believe you. Oh, man. Well, Sean, you got to get down there, buddy. Tell us about your experience down visiting with Smarty.
Yeah, so last week, ahead of the ceremony, I got to go down to Pennsylvania and go visit him at Equistar and see him run around the field. And he looks fantastic, Pat. I don't know how he's 24. It still seems like yesterday. He does not look like he's 24, but he's just such a special horse still, even to this day.
You know why it looks so great? He is as happy as he's ever been. He's with an incredible family. I don't know if you had a chance to meet Rodney.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, that's right. You were there.
Yeah.
You see, I'm still in that cloud. Still in a fog. But that's why he looks so good. They take such good care of him. And he's extremely happy. He is so attached to them. They're so attached to him that last year, when I heard it was earlier this year, when I heard that Smarty was on the ballot for the Hall of Fame and we all had our fingers crossed, I asked Rodney at that time if I could just plan on leaving Smarty there for the rest of his life. I had really thought about moving him to Kentucky so more fans could see him. And that's what I've been wanting for him, for the fans to be able to see him. But I couldn't move him at this point. I think it'd break his heart, and I know it would break Rodney and Sharon's hearts. So he's just thriving there. Doesn't he look great?
He looks awesome. Well, and I'm also excited to see for any fans that might be in the area, I believe they're planning to have a big celebration of his Hall of Fame induction at the farm this Saturday that they can go attend to. We had an article on Smarty Jones last week, and the information for that is in that article. But his connection with the fans, I know I told you when I met you the other day, he's the first horse I remember watching, so he played a big impact on me getting into the sport. What is it like still all these years later having fans reach out to you and tell you that story?
It's unbelievable. And it happens often. Not as much as it did 20 years, but it still happens. It's incredible. People I meet in the horse business, like you say, I'm in this business, or I'm in the, involved in the sport because of Smarty, because I loved him. And I know a couple of young women who were 10 years old at the time that he was running. One of them, it had been her first horse race ever to watch him win second place in the Belmont. She fell in love with horses, fell in love with Smarty, and she's involved in the business. She was at Saratoga for the Hall of Fame presentation, and the other one is in the horse business. Both those young girls ended up going through the Flying Start program. Wow. But there are so many of them, and I love it. I love hearing that. He's been so good for the sport, and I hope some of the people who are unhappy about him being in the Hall of Fame, I hope they realize the impact that he truly has had on the business.
Plus, Sean will fight any of them. Yes. So if anyone needs it, Sean will just show up and fight him for
you. It's the Hall of Fame. You can't get more famous than Smarty Jones is.
He was named after a woman named Millie. Pat, do you have a great story about that? Is there a reason that you named Smarty after Millie?
Absolutely, but it wasn't Millie. She was never called Millie. You're believing everything you read in print.
I like to read, Pat. Come on.
Read it. I think, who started it? It wasn't me. That was my mother. My mother was Mildred Evelyn McNair when she was a young girl, before she married my father. And she spent a lot of time living with her grandparents, Mama and Papa Jones. And Papa would say to her, "What's your name, little girl?" And she'd say, "Mildred Evelyn McNair." And he would say, "Smarty Jones." So she had to say, "Mildred Evelyn McNair, Smarty Jones." So when he was born on her birthday, born on my mother's birthday. And, Mark Reed, an original trainer of ours, had said, "Don't ever name a horse after a relative because you're stuck with him." Well, this is a good one to be stuck with, let me tell you. But named him, I didn't want to name him Mildred. I didn't think that would go over well. And he might not have run as well as he ran, but Smarty Jones. I remembered the story that my mother had told me when I was a young girl about her grandfather calling her Smarty Jones. So that's how that happened and why he got that name. And I think it was pretty catchy and people seemed to like it.
Pat, take us back to 2004. Smarty Jones is coming into the Kentucky Derby. Just what are your memories of that whole ride?
Oh boy, that was an awful lot of excitement. We knew that we were in the Derby with a chance. We knew we had a good horse that had the talent to do it. But we also knew how many ways you can lose a horse race. We've lost it in every way imaginable. We've lost races. But everything went just right. And Stewie rode that race as if he'd been riding in that race for many years. His first Kentucky Derby. He was a master. He just made all the right moves, and the excitement was just incredible. But I'll tell you, coming up to the Derby, we were at Oaklawn Park, which I got to tell you guys, if you've never been to Oaklawn Park, you want to go. Yeah, sure. There are true horsemen out there. They love racing, and that track is always. There are people always there. And they fell in love with Smarty when he started winning out there. And they talking about Smarty parties for the first time. So we won the first race there at Oaklawn. We won the second race. We still didn't have any points to get into the Derby. So when we came up to the Arkansas Derby, and that was when the excitement was really incredible, we had to win or finish second to get enough points to get into the Derby. And he won that, and that set him up for the big bonus from Mr. Sella, which I'm sure you've heard about.
Oh, yeah.
And then going into the Derby, honestly, the excitement was incredible. Just hoping that all the horses came in safe and sound and that we could have some good racing luck, which we sure did. We had the right trainer and the right jockey and the right team behind Smarty, and it all fell into place. It was wonderful.
$5 million bonus there for sweeping the Rebel, the Arkansas Derby, and the Kentucky Derby. Not the end of the world there, Pat. Eh?
That's right. Let me tell you, that ain't all bad, is it?
Pay a couple bills with that one. He goes on. He wins the Preakness by a record, 11 and a half lengths. Did you fall asleep during that race? How did that one go for you, Pat?
Yeah, I took a quick nap.
Quick nap, yeah.
Are you kidding? When he started pulling ahead, oh my golly, it was unbelievable. And that record still stands, and I hope it stays forever. I really do.
11 and a half legs is a lot of legs, so it's going to be there for a while.
It's not 31, but it's a lot of links.
A lot of legs.
And he had a shorter distance, so he would have made it to 31.
That's right. No, that would not have happened.
Well, we get to the Belmont. I heard you say it earlier. I heard Rodney say it at the farm. You guys look at it as we won second place because of how well he still ran in that race. Everybody took a shot at him. I know there was probably a lot of disappointment when he got beat, but I feel like in that race, we really saw what a true champion he was. I'm assuming that's the way you guys feel.
Absolutely. And it bothers me when I hear someone say he lost the Belmont. As a matter of fact, they put that on his plaque. And I said, I said, I can't accept this. They got a couple of things wrong on the plaque, the Hall of Fame plaque. And I got in touch with Brian and I said, I'm so sorry. And I hate to complain because I'm so thrilled he's in, but you got to make some changes on that plaque. And that was one of them, and that he was retired when he lost the Belmont. I don't like to hear lost, number one. And that's not the reason he was retired.
Right.
But that, I don't know if we could have stood it if he had won the Belmont. The excitement, the love for that horse, the fan mail we got, it was incredible. We got bins and bins of fan mail. Smarty did. We did as the owners. John Service and Stuart Elliott got so much fan mail. I don't know if we could have handled it if he had actually won the Triple Crown. And I don't think now he's got that Hall of Fame under his belt, and that is the crown. He's got his crown that he so deserves.
Well, Pat, we appreciate.
But it was a disappointment, and I'm glad you saw. You know what happened in that race. John said he had a target on his back, and there were three outstanding jockeys who really took a shot at him and wore him down, which is what they had planned to do. And they did it. You know what? Smarty beat himself. I always say he beat himself because they sucked him right in. He was so competitive that, they got him going and they wore him out on the backstretch. But that was an incredible race that he ran.
And I know by your side, the entire journey was your late husband, Roy. Just what was the experience like sharing that with him?
Oh my God. I miss him so much through this because, he's the reason we got involved in racing. He had had horses all of his life. And when I met him, I learned to ride. We rode many a time together. We fox hunted together. We fox hunted in Ireland and fell in love. Then one day he said to me, I'd always wanted to have a racehorse. And I said, let's do it. Not you go ahead and do it. I said, let's do it. And we just had so much fun with racing with our first real trainer, Mark Reed. And then we went to Bob K. Mack. And that story, that heartbreaking story. And from that, we had a couple of trainers with some of our lesser horses, but we wanted a trainer that would travel. When we knew that Smarty was, before he ever got to the racetrack, we knew that he was a special horse. No idea he was a Derby horse, but so we called Mark Reed and asked trainers' names, and he gave us two, and one of them was John Service. So we went with John. But my husband, being with him through that was incredible. He was very sick near the end. He didn't live a year and a half after that Derby Triple Crown Trail. But It was the best medicine he could have had. He was so happy, and it was so tough. Nobody will ever know how hard it was for him to get to those races, but he did it. The joy he had through it all, and I miss him terribly being here without him. I said in my little talk, I said, he's here in my heart. He's always here in my heart. But it was great to see him, his excitement.
Well, Pat, we appreciate it. Congratulations on the crown, as you said there.
On the crown.
Of that Hall of Fame nod for Smarty Jones. As far as Sean is concerned, well deserved. So there you
Yes.
go.
Wonderful. Now, will I see either of you? Sean, will you be there next Saturday?
No, unfortunately, I'm going to have to stay up here at Saratoga. So, unfortunately, I won't be there. But I know the worst place in the world to get stuck instead. But I wish you guys a lot of fun down there, and I know everybody's going to enjoy seeing him like I did. I'm glad I got my little private party with him this past week. So,
And too, he's quite a character, isn't he?
oh yes, he is.
He really does have that charisma that John Service talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Pat, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on the crown, and hopefully we'll catch up down the line.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed it very much, guys. Thank you.
Pat. Hey,
Thank
Pat Chapman joins us
Bye-bye.
from owner of Smarty Jones, now in the Hall of Fame. The reason Sean's in this game. How about that? One of the reasons. So there you go. I know it's interesting, Sean, because that's something I've learned on this show. Is star power still matters in this sport? Because we have stars on the 3-year-old circuit, and those numbers are out of control when we talk about those horses and interview their connections, and you've got video from those places. And it has been a reminder, excuse me, that horse racing, like Frank mentioned earlier, is like every other sport. It needs its stars, and it needs, we're not, there's lots of different aspects of our game that exist that don't exist in others, but this is a sport where we still need stars. Smarty's an absolute star. No freaking question about it. And that 04 run too was the 100th anniversary of the Triple Crown. And it was at a time when we just kind of wondered if there was a chance that it was going to be, this was the breakthrough. This was the one that we were going to have, and it just never ended up happening, unfortunately.
Yeah,
so.
I just, he's obviously a Pennsylvania bred. He was very big in the region. I was 4, about to turn 5 years old at the time, so I didn't fully grasp the importance of what he was doing. But I remember the Belmont when he won second place. I was at a restaurant with my family, and everybody in the restaurant was gathered around the TV to see whether or not Smarty could do it. And I remember everybody was yelling at the TV, everybody was cheering for him. Yeah. And that was probably the moment that initially got me hooked. I always say the 2 big horses for me was Smarty Jones is the one who got me started, and then Barbaro was the one 2 years later that sealed the deal with me being in the racing industry. Both are very special to me, and to see Smarty just last week was a very, very touching moment for me, especially to see him doing so well there.
Yeah, and people really love the videos. Where can they find those, Sean, of your journeys and different things, so that people might be watching or listening right now that wouldn't know where to find them?
Yeah, if you want to see Smarty Jones, I posted a video on my X account, Twitter account, BH_S Collins. You can see that video there. We posted a longer form video on the BloodHorse website. If you just search Smarty Jones, BloodHorse headlines, you should be able to find the most recent things involving him. There was an article that's got that video inside of it. And we also have that video. It's about 3.5 minutes long of just watching him run around and do stuff, which for me is the best kind of video you can have. You can find that right on our YouTube channel. So if you are watching the podcast here on YouTube, you can just hop right on over to that video afterwards. If you are watching us on Spotify or listening to us anywhere else, go check out the BloodHorse YouTube channel, and you can catch all that footage of Smarty Jones.
The racing this coming weekend, different spots, but different and different outcomes. But the Arlington Million this weekend at Colonial Win and In for the Breeders' Cup there, young Sean. Kind of a shorter field, but we get Mystik Dan trying the grass after a workout. Do you like Mystik Dan trying the grass here? I think it actually makes a fair amount of sense.
It does make quite a bit of sense. I actually just spoke to Kenny McPeak this morning about that. So you can look out for that coming up on the BloodHorse Plus on the website, because I got video of him breezing on the turf a couple days ago, and then we talked to Kenny about it, so you can catch that in the coming days. But so I think it's a good move for him. Kenny said we know where we stand among the classic division horses right now. And this is an opportunity to see where he could possibly stand against the turf horses. I think if you're going to take a shot at the turf, I think this is a really interesting race to do it. I think it's the right kind of field where he can potentially be successful in it. And, you know, he drew the rail. So, you know, he's in a spot he likes to be in. He loves riding that rail with Hernandez up the inside. So
yeah, fair point.
I think this is I like seeing, you know, obviously we're happy to see a Kentucky Derby winner back at 4, but I'm also excited to see a Kentucky Derby winner at 4 trying something new. I just think that's always interesting to see, you know, exactly what these horses are capable of. And, you know, if it doesn't work, you come back in the Lucas Classic a month and a half later and you keep on going on the dirt. But why not take a shot? It's a grade 1. It's an opportunity to see whether or not he can perform at the same level on a different surface. And if he can, that opens so many doors of possibilities for him down the line. We had Barry Irwin on earlier, Animal Kingdom. He could go between all 3 surfaces and there was never a problem. So let's see if Mystik Dan can do the same thing.
Shout out to friend of the show, Lance Gasaway, owner of Mystik Dan. Hopefully he runs well. I think he can. And I think the distance makes a ton of sense. It just there are lots of opportunities in a way that, you know, there was a little bit of complaint from Rapoli about not enough races for older horses. There are a lot on the turf, actually. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's actually a lot of opportunities to go 2 turns on the turf. So maybe Mystik Dan can find something here. I'm with you. You know, when Lucas passed away, Sean, I think it would have been very reasonable to be concerned that we would lose a trainer who was just willing to try things with horses and just move them forward. And it's a reminder we still have some of those minds amongst the trainers in this game still. McPeak stands out. Out west, I think of like a Doug O'Neill who's willing to try things, switch surfaces, do that sort of stuff. It's nice that we still have these, you know, these sorts of trainers and connections in the industry, because, you know, Lance Gasaway could be like, no, man, we want a great stakes on dirt this year. Why are we going to the turf? But he's like, no, okay, I trust Kenny McPeak here. And that's I think a good sign for our sport that we've still got those guys willing to take chances. It's nice.
Yes. And it makes it more interesting for, you know, us as fans, us as handicappers, because you don't know what's going to happen. So everybody's going to be tuning in to see how he does on the handicapping side. You might love him and think that you're going to get a price on him in this race. Right. You might hate the move and you think you're going to get a price on somebody else because he's the Derby winner. So it's one of those things that is going to draw a lot of attention, I think, to the race at Colonial this weekend. And I'm looking forward to it. There's too many places to be this weekend. You've got grade 1s at Saratoga. You've got the Smarty Jones party in Pennsylvania. You have the Arlington Million at Colonial. There's just too much to do on Saturday, Louie.
That's why Sunday I'll be at Elms. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, little juvenile, little Derby, little Cowboy Jones. So I'll be there on Sunday. We'll talk about that when we get back next week. A reminder, as we do at this time of the episode every week, go check out the BloodHorse magazine. QR code on the screen if you happen to be watching right now. If you are not, you're welcome to head to the website right now, bloodhorse.com. Just search for look for magazine. The tab at the top of the homepage and get signed up for that. Beautiful photos. And of course, right now, the Wayne Lucas Remembrance edition, already on the shelves and out there as well. All right, Sean, you are laughing at me. Why are you laughing at me? What's the laugh?
I'm laughing at you accidentally saying episode instead of edition when you're talking about you get too many of these shows, Louie.
I do a little too much talking and not enough writing. Well, he does a lot of writing. His name's Sean Collins. He's up at Saratoga for us all summer, as is Frank Angst, of course. Tons of coverage of that sale going on right now at bloodhorse.com. Next week, we'll have your recaps of both the Ellis Park Derby and, of course, that Arlington Million. We'll know a little bit more about who is shooting for the Breeders' Cup then. But I'm Louie Rabaut. He's Sean Collins. Thanks for joining us here on BloodHorse Monday. We'll see you next week. The BloodHorse is dedicated to the improvement of thoroughbred breeding and racing for over 100 years. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and save BloodHorse Monday on all your platforms. For the latest news, analysis, and insights, visit us at bloodhorse.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.